I am so excited for this episode. Message 11, ticking things off one by one. Hey everyone, it's your host Desi here on Unsent Voice Memos, and today it is all about bucket lists. I have been looking forward to this episode so much, and I feel like this episode is just like proof that life is not all just like very conceptual things and just things you have to constantly think about, but there can also be happiness in life. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So I think like the first time I heard bucket list, like I actually can't remember exactly how old I was or what day it was, but I was probably around like 10 years old. And I think I was watching Alexa and Katie. I'm not entirely sure though. But that's when I like first heard the term of a bucket list. And I was like, what the heck is that? Like, is it literally just a list for what type of buckets you want? Like, I was so confused and I was so naive. And I was like, why would anyone actually want to have a bucket list? Because the thing is, I did not get them at the time, like, at all. But the thing is, now I find them like the cutest thing ever. And even though the name still doesn't make sense to this day, it sounds really nice. And I think the actual purpose of a bucket list has so much more meaning than the name itself. So I think like the first question I feel like we should ask is why do we actually make bucket lists? So a bucket list is like essentially a goal list and it's about like I feel like a bucket list can be taken two ways. It can be about the things we want to achieve or about the things we want to experience. So, but like my bucket list, I'd say it's probably like a mixture of both, like of things I want to achieve, but it's also like things I want to experience. And I think for me, a bucket list is just such a great way of always having the motivation to do something and feel like it's not just like a day by day thing where I'm just like living life, but it's more just like I'm working towards this goal and this goal and this goal. So instead of it becoming day by day, it's more goal by goal. And I'm always feel like I'm achieving something instead of just waiting for someday, like this amazing thing will happen to me. And in a world where social media exists and where we are constantly like comparing ourselves to people who already have the greatest things and we're like, oh, I wish that could be us someday. I feel like having a bucket list makes you feel like you're that one step closer to achieving that someday. But honestly, what even is a good bucket list? Like, I remember when I was younger, when I first started setting my goals, I just set like the most unrealistic things that I just wanted to happen. Like I just had really big and ambitious dreams, but they were so unrealistic and they were very vague as well. So I think I actually got this introduced with my school when I started doing my Duke of Ed, but SMART goals, and I feel like a lot of people have heard of SMART goals, but I feel like they are just such an amazing way to make your bucket list. And it's not even like an overrated thing just because they are so good. So I guess for those who haven't heard what a SMART goal, it's like an abbreviation, like the five letters stand for something, and that's by using all those letters in when making a goal, it's like a really good goal and it makes your goal feel more achievable and also like less vague and it actually like gives detail on how you want to achieve it and not just like what you want to achieve. So I think I'm just going to get straight into like what the like smart goal actually stands for. So the S in smart stands for specific. So whatever goal you're setting, it should be really clear and detailed and it should leave no room for ambiguity. So that's essentially what I was saying with the whole goals being vague. And it's about like asking yourself what you want to do, who is involved, and why it matters. So I'm going to just use like an item off my bucket list because that's like, and I'll just use the same one throughout. So one of my items is to get my side aerial. So that's like, I guess, the what I want. And part of that reason is because I think it's a really cool trick. Since watching like TNS, it's a trick I've always wanted to get because it seems so cool. And who is involved is like my dance teacher, my studio, and also just like my friends at dance for like encouraging me and supporting me. And I've kind of already answered in that why it matters to me. So then next is the M, which stands for measurable. So this is identifying like how long you want to take to achieve this goal. So it's essentially a good way to track your progress. So, and this could be having like any numbers. So, in terms of a side aerial, it would just be how long I want to take to get it. But if you're doing like a financial goal, it would not just be how long you want to take to get it, but it would also be like how much you want to make in that time. So, if I was doing a financial goal, it would be like, oh, I want to make like $200 in the next like month or something. That's an example of like not just it being a time bound goal. And this helps like to tell you when exactly you've reached your target. And I feel like with having measurable goals, it also helps you break it down from it being one big goal into small achievable things that are shorter to measure, because our brain, it struggles to compute such big tasks. So by breaking it down, it makes it simpler and it makes it also feel a lot more achievable. So with my side aerial, it would be like, I always keep saying this, like I want to get my side aerial in the next 6 months, but I never work towards it. So in the last like couple weeks I have in the studio before my school holidays start, I am definitely just focusing on getting my side aerial. And then before we start any routines, like in my acro class, I am just going to be working on my side aerial. So that's kind of like my measurable, like I want to be able to get it in the next 6 months. And the way I'm doing that is by practicing at the studio once a week when I go there. So then the next thing is achievable. So this is like ensuring your goal is realistic given your current resources, time constraints, workloads, and budgets. So like a really unachievable goal would be like for me, like I want to go to the moon next year. Like I will be honest, that is not a goal of mine, but it's not achievable because I am someone who is still in high school. So I don't even have the time because I'm so busy with like schoolwork and stuff, and I don't have the connections or the resources to be able to get to the moon in like a year. But if I change it to, oh, I want to go to the moon in like the next 15 years, then it's a bit more like achievable because this gives me time to focus myself around that goal and make sure my workload is not too much but is also centered around getting to the moon. So yeah, and like with my side aerial, I can't just say get my side aerial by next week because I know for me that's not going to be achievable. I still need a bit more time than that, which is why I've given myself 6 months. So the next goal is, well, next letter is R for relevant. And this is essentially the why part in specific, like why it matters, because the goal should matter to you and align with your personal, academic, or business objectives. So like again, like I can think of so many people who aren't dancers, they have no reason to want to get their side aerial. So it's not relevant to them, but it's relevant to me because I'm a dancer and I want to be able to showcase the skill and prove that my effort actually comes out with results. So that's essentially relevancy, like figuring out why the goal matters to you. And then I've already addressed this a bit, but for the last letter in SMART, T is for time bound. And this is every goal needs a clear target date or deadline. So this allows for like a sense of urgency to be created and it helps prevent procrastination, which I feel like, especially just like as a teenager, you struggle with like every single day. So again, with my side aerial, I definitely procrastinated it for a bit, which is why I didn't achieve it like the first two times when I put my time bound on 6 months because I was focusing on schoolwork. I was focusing on other stuff when I was in the studio. Like I wasn't working on getting my side aerial. And that was like kind of my procrastination because I felt like if I worked on smaller skills or easier skills, then my side aerial wouldn't matter. But it still does because it's still a goal for me. So that's essentially what a SMART goal is making sure your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And this makes your goal really good and actually makes it not just like what a goal is and makes it a dream, but rather like steps to achieve your dream. So next is like my bucket list. So I've already talked about it a bit. I have a bucket list and my bucket list is not at all complete. So I am working on this thing called a 100 list. and that is essentially where you have 100 goals, and that's like for your whole life. So that is what I call my bucket list, my 100 lists, and I'm not even halfway through. I'm pretty sure I have around 41 items on my list, and that actually just seems like a lot. But the thing is, they all mean so much to me, and they're all something I want to see or do or achieve in my future. And for me personally, just having 100 things I want to accomplish in life, it makes me feel like my life is not just like another life, but it's a life that is worth living and a life that I want to live. So like it makes me feel motivated by having this bucket list. And like there will be days that I'm just like on my bed and I don't want to do anything and I just like don't want to work towards any of my goals. And I'm also like not saying that every single day I am working towards my goals. I think most of the time I'm actually not necessarily working towards my goals, which is probably not the best of me and I definitely could work on that. But essentially, like, I want to be able to accomplish like all the 100 things on this list in my life because that I feel like 100 things in your life is not a lot because that's like with the life expectancy being like 85 years, that's around like more than one but less than two. I'm not actually bothered to do maths at the moment, but it's essentially accomplishing like one goal a year, maybe one and a half, but you can't really achieve one and a half. So like 2 goals a year. And let's just say you're doing this from like 20 to 85, then that leaves you 65 years to accomplish 100 goals. So yeah, that's around like 2 goals per year, which is not a lot. And I feel like if you aren't even motivated enough to complete 2 goals a year, then do you actually know what makes you motivated? Because it's not worth living life just like letting it happen to you because you want to be able to control your own life and your own destiny. So yeah, that's why I have 100 goals because that is what makes me motivated. And when I put it into perspective, because I am a numbers person, it's not a lot and it's something I know is achievable for me to be able to do 100 things in my life. Now, I have ticked off a couple. So I started my 100 list at the beginning of this year. And I actually even checked how many I've ticked off. Honestly, I think I've only ticked off like one or two. I'm gonna actually check now, so just give me a sec. Okay, so I've just checked and I'm actually like really surprised in myself. I have ticked off 6 goals in around 7 months. So I'm actually really impressed with myself with that. But honestly, I think one of the reasons I have been able to tick off like that many goals in such little time is because of I was focused on them and I definitely wanted to achieve them. And while like everything on my 100 list is definitely not like a smart goal, I plot them out to be smart goals. Like some of them like had time constraints. So I think one of them was like start a podcast. So I put that on at the beginning of the year. And then I was like, start it within the next like 4 months. So I did. So that's why I ticked off that goal. And I think what helped with making sure I did that was A, always working towards the goal, but B, one of the ways I stayed motivated was actually having my 100 list like clearly visible whenever I was like studying. So like if I needed a break or something or like when I get out of bed, it's on my pin board. So that's like behind my desk and right in front of my bed kind of situation. So I was always seeing my goals. And I think being able to see my goals and read them and not just like write them helped me so much with achieving my goals. I'm actually pretty sure there's a stat. I'm going to search it up quickly. So I actually couldn't find the stat I was looking for with the just writing your goals and actually reading them, but I did find a pretty good goal with just writing them. So research shows that like writing down your goals makes you 42% more likely to achieve them. And then when you're reading them, it actually improves your accountability because you're applying concrete strategies. And this is like what bridges the gaps between just having a goal and actually making it a successful goal. So I feel like even just hearing like if you write down your goals, you are 42% more likely to achieve them. I can't imagine anyone who doesn't want to achieve a goal. And I think like even like the most successful people write down their goals because that is literally part of the reason they became successful, not just because of luck, but because they worked towards something and they actively work towards it. So I actually just found this other stat, but like roughly 80 to 88% of self-made millionaires set and maintain clearly defined written goals. So if that's the statistic, if you're just writing your goals and maintaining them, you're already like on track to becoming a self-made millionaire. And if you ask me, that is pretty cool. So I can't imagine again anyone who doesn't want to write down their goals. And yes, I do get it's hard. And I do get like, oh, I don't know what motivates me in life. And I like get like that, oh, I'm too busy. But your problems are all solved, like all those things I just listed, they're all solved just by writing down your bucket list because you're not even like with the procrastination. You have something to work towards. You have something to visually look at and be like, okay, I want to achieve this. Get to the procrastination. Oh, I have too much work to do. Bucket list. You now know what work you need to do, and it makes your life so much more clearer because you're like, okay, this is like taking school, for example. Like, I don't have too many academic goals in there, I have a couple, but even then, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to focus on my academics. I can't be writing a bucket list right now. But by writing my bucket list, I'm like, okay, this gives me something to be motivated for other than just like getting good grades. Like this is actually what my grades mean when it comes to my bucket list. And even if it doesn't, my bucket list is actually what's letting me enjoy my life and not just live it. Because yes, I can get the good grades and yes, I can go to the good university and get the job and be a millionaire. But if I have nothing to spend my money on, then honestly, I'm not going to be the happiest person. And even with like no money, a bucket list can still make you happy. So, yeah, there really isn't any reason to not have a bucket list, which is why for the first time I am actually going to set a listener challenge. So, your challenge is after this episode to write your own bucket list and not the one that you think sounds impressive to your friends or your family, not one that you think other people like, because a bucket list key thing is that let people judge it, but don't let that judgment define you or what's on your bucket list. You want to write a bucket list that actually feels like you. And it doesn't have to be 100 items like mine. It can literally just be maybe a bucket list until you finish high school or a bucket list just for the next year. Just write something down, like a couple things down, make it your bucket list, and make sure you put it up somewhere that you can see it. Because just the two stats I shared, I honestly can't imagine someone who wouldn't want to write a bucket list. Not just because of the name, but because of what you can achieve literally just by writing down your goals and reading them. So that is it for today's episode. And make sure you do follow me on Instagram at Unsend Voice Memos Podcast. It would be great to see some followers on there. I am planning on posting a bit more exclusive content on there very soon. So if you don't want to miss on out on that, make sure to go check it out. And also don't forget to follow me on Spotify and YouTube. And I am actually going to be taking a break for the next month. And this is because I am going on school holidays, as I've already said. And I really want to be able to spend this time with my family. So, unfortunately, I won't be doing any podcasting. And I'm also very sad, but I also know I need to spend this time during my holidays away from my screen and really just spend some quality time with my family. So I will still be uploading an episode on the Wednesday, but it'll be instead of next week on the 1st of July, it will be on the 5th of August, still at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 10 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. But until then, make sure you complete your listener challenge, and I will see you guys next month. Not going to lie, this has actually made me more motivated to write more items on my bucket list. Message 11 concluded.